He must have a greater purpose.
An affair, right?
He does really care a lot about you.
Oh no, the crown prince asked Gu Qishao to investigate the powder that he switched. Do you know what the powder was?
Quiero amarte de una forma diferente, de otro modo.
Find it in your heart to forgive him. And make sure that your conscience is clear. I forgave him.
Do you really think that guy is going to betray you?
No, he won't do it. But if he does, I have the perfect way to ruin him. He was the one who stole all of Amaya's money.
If I become the owner of 50% of El Paraíso, I'll be a nuisance. If Dad won't appear, it'll be the biggest nuisance.
Hold on, my love. Why are you only telling me about all this now? No.
And I think we must accept it.
No, it's not. It's not reasonable.
Because Mauro isn't coming back.
No! It's not reasonable, Mother.
De una forma diferente, de otro modo, nunca igual al de otra gente.
Good afternoon. Thank you for creating time for us. This is KBC and you're watching the Lunchtime News. My name is Irene. Muchuma Odem. My co-anchor on language interpretation this afternoon is Anne Wangeshi. Remember, we're also live on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We begin from the county of Machakos. The Kenya Secondary School Heads Association is asking all head teachers to strictly ensure bullying of new learners is dealt with, even as they focus on shielding schools from COVID-19. The association's chairperson, Indimoli Kahi, issued the directive as Form 1 students continue reporting to their respective schools.
728, 157.
Long queues in school mark the first day of Form 1 students, but some parents complain against high prices of school uniform, beddings and books. The learners who have stayed at home since March are reporting to school when coronavirus infection are on a surge. The reporting of Form 1s comes barely a week after school reopened after a one-week break. Chakos High School Principal Indimuli Kahi, who is the Kenya Secondary School Heads Association Chair, called on school principals to be vigilant in containing COVID-19.
We need to be very vigilant in containing of COVID-19 measures. We must be very observant that students observe these measures and where possible support the children.
Indimoli also called on principals to ensure that new learners are not victims of bullying from their seniors.
Wayward behavior from other students that may cause stress to the new students, that we need to be vigilant so that we don't record any cases of bullying.
Now we are going to the county of Mombasa, where the deputy governor for the region, William Kingi, is currently leading a meeting with the committee of the COVID-19, which is aiming at ensuring the measures being enhanced by the national government to contain the spread of the virus is being practiced. And my colleague Anne Mburu is on the ground. She is advising we listen in to events from the county of Mombasa.
Gatherings and in-person meetings of whatever nature are suspended in the county. Number 2, places of worship will follow COVID-19 guidelines as per interfaith regulation. That is a third capacity, including the other measures like hand washing, putting on masks, and so on. Number 3, employees are encouraged to work from home except for critical services, which include security and health workers. Number 4, treatment of COVID-19 cases at home is hereby prohibited. We have received cases whereby some individuals have opened ICUs in their own homes. That is a very dangerous practice. Number 5, disposal of dead bodies shall be within 72 hours. Number 6, curfew hours shall be sustained from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. in the county of Mombasa. Number 7, we encourage all members of the public to go for vaccination. We have vaccines now, everybody needs to go for vaccination. Number 8, compliance to COVID-19 measures on all sectors, including transport, hotels, bars, restaurants, shops, supermarkets, shall be enforced strictly. Number 9, ban on all live performances in hotels and bars. Ile live bands kwa mahoteli, kwa mabar is banned forthwith. Number 10, we are forming a multi-agency committees in the sub-counties to inspect all bars and liquor premises with immediate effect and to close those which are non-compliant. And that one will take effect from today. Nikirudia kwa lugha ya Kiswahili. Kamati ya COVID-19 emergency ya Mombasa leo hii imefanya kikao na kukubaliana yafuatayo. Ya kwanza, mikutano yote ya aina yoyote imepigwa marufuku katika kaunti ya Mombasa. Namba 2, sehemu zote za maombi ifuate zile guidelines ya COVID-19 na izingatie.
Well, a meeting aimed at ensuring the end of spread of COVID-19 currently underway in the county of Mombasa. My colleague Anne Mburu will be able to bring for us a comprehensive news item in our subsequent bulletins. In other matters, residents of Takaba in Mandera West constituency in Mandera County will in the next 2 weeks enjoy full electricity connectivity. Speaking after touring Takaba sub-county station, Mandera West Member of Parliament Aden Haj Yusuf said with the supply of 500 kVA capacity new generator machine server, at least 4 wards out of 5 wards will be supplied with the electricity.
For many years, residents of Takaba in Mandera West constituency in Mandera County have been depending on private generators machine for electricity supply.
Sai ikitengeneza hiyo engine ya power ile kubwa, at least
we had a very old generator that has served, I said, in many other stations, but today we have a brand new one brought for Takaba with very high capacity, and therefore rationing of electricity supply will be things of the past.
Takaba sub-power station that has 150 kilovolts ampere capacity is hardly enough for the fast-growing town in Mandera County. The sub-power station has now been upgraded to a 500 kilovolts ampere capacity, a state of affairs that is expected to change the fortune of the fast-growing Takaba town.
Tunafaulu mzuri sana kwamba katika hii Takaba kwa sababu watu wengi iko na
This is still a generator, but a new generator with a very high capacity. And then it's backed up by solar system. But the main supply, the main source of supply is the generator still.
Speaking after touring the sub-power station, Mandera West Member of Parliament Adan Haji Yusuf said 4 wards out of the 5 wards in the constituency will be covered by the upgraded power grid.
All the vicinities around here, it's going to serve, that machine is going to serve 4 wards out of the 5 wards in this constituency. And it's ongoing very well. Today we are expecting very senior engineers who will do the final touches. Maybe within 2 weeks we shall be up and running.
Gospel musician Patricia Helen Nyanchoka, known for her Tupendani hit song, is appealing for help from well-wishers over a 6 million shillings medical bill. Nyanchoka is battling health complications following a road accident she sustained in March 2021.
It is this love that Patricia Nyanchoka preached in one of her songs, Tupendane, that she is asking for from well-wishers.
Yale nilipitia ni machungu ya kwamba hii mguu yangu ilikatwa na hii yenye ilipaki haina nguvu. Sasa kutembea ni stress.
Her life turned upside down in March this year when she was involved in a grisly road accident. In what she terms God's mercies upon her life, Nyanchoka survived the accident but escaped with several health complications, including losing her 2 limbs.
Hii mguu kwa sababu ilipaki mfupa imekuwa konde. Sasa wanataka kwenda kutoa mafuta, walisema ni fat grafting wanaenda kufanya. Sasa na hiyo inahitaji pesa.
An incident that has confined her into a wheelchair. Nyanchoka's ordeal has left her family depleted of resources. The mother of 5 requires more series of procedures for her to fully recover, but the family is unable to raise 6 million shillings required for specialized treatment that will see her undergo reconstructive surgery as well as acquiring artificial limbs.
Ningehitaji kama anisaidiwe nipate ile mguu artificial leg ili nikaweza angalau kusimama, hata kusimama peke yake, kwa sababu sasa siwezi simama peke yangu.
Hayo majungu ambayo tumeyapitia, tunaomba kwa moyo wa upendo msimame nasi tukaweze kulipa malipo ya hospitali. Yu mama anahitaji mguu, prosthesis ya kuweka kwa ule mguu uliokatwa, hatuna pesa. Tumekwama kifedha, hata watoto wetu wengine walikuwa kwa masomo hawaendi.
To help the family, you can send your contribution to 0710-851358 or through an Equity Bank account 0510194155-802. Purity Museo, Lunchtime News.
Now, a man in Buria village, Busia County, has surrendered to the Bumala police station after he brutally murdered his brother. The 52-year-old suspect is said to have killed his brother with a machete over an alleged land dispute.
It's been a long-standing family land feud between the 2 brothers that has ultimately turned tragic.
Ni kitu chifu amesha kujaka hapa. Akaweka pamoja, akasema wafungue hiyo njia kwa sababu access road is very important to anybody.
According to locals, the deceased John Ogada lost his life in the hands of his 52-year-old brother over a road and a piece of land.
Njia ni kidogo, sasa lori ni kubwa. Iligusa hiyo singenge, nini ikaanguka. Inaonekana hiyo ndio ilileta neno.
Doreen Atieno, wife to the deceased, said that her husband left home for his cows only to be informed hours later that he had been murdered by his brother.
Musa alitoka hapa saa 11. Naenda kutoa ng'ombe. Amepata kama masaa kufa, amelala tu chini.
According to the late Ogada's daughter Vivian Awor, the fatal dispute ensued after a lorry ferrying sand hit a pole, breaking a fence on the narrow road that separated the two brothers' houses.
Ya jana ni lori ndio ilikuja tereza kidogo ikakanyaga pole ingine moja. Amekuwa akivutana na mabradha zake, wanavutana, anapointiwa panga, anataka kukatwa. Nilipata simu nikiwa Kisumu, kama mamangu analia, ananiambia baba amechinjwa, amekatwa vibaya sana.
The suspect has, however, handed himself to the Bumala police station with investigation into the incident commencing.
Tunataka serikali itusaidie na hii njia. Vile naona hii njia bado italeta maneno.
For Lunchtime News, I'm Nisi Imano Okoth.
Police in Vihiga County have arrested a doctor attached at the Vihiga Referral Hospital for alleged theft of drugs at the facility. The arrest comes barely a week after the county received drugs from the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority, KEMSA, worth 32 million shillings.
It was the end of the road for a doctor at Vihiga Referral Hospital after he was arrested by police in connection with the disappearance of drugs at the facility. The arrest was announced by the Vihiga County Secretary Ezekiel Ayego.
Dawa nyingi za ajabu kwa hospitali. Na ukienda unapatiwa Panadol. Na dawa ziko hapo. Jinsi vile naongea saa hii kuna daktari ambaye ameshikwa. Na kuna wengine pia watashikwa na watawekwa ndani.
His arrest coming just few days after the area governor Wilbur Tichilo decried theft of drugs in the county facilities and said already detectives were on the ground investigating rampant theft of drugs.
Governor anatoa hizo drugs, hizo pesa kununua madawa. Alafu tuko na madaktari na watu wengine ambao wanaiba hizo madawa. Kuna wengine ambao wanaenda, ukienda hospitali wanakuitisha pesa.
The county secretary said more arrests are expected until those involved in theft are put behind bars. In the recent past, health facilities have been faced with drug shortage, which was attributed to theft. He appealed to the members of the public to volunteer information to the authority so that action is taken.
Governor ametoa 32 million shillings drugs ambazo zilinunua madawa kwa hospitali. And in the next 2 weeks, nataka msikie vizuri, in the next 2 weeks, governor anatoa tena drugs worth 50 million.
Timothy Kipnosu for Lunchtime News.
3 affiliate parties of the National Super Alliance have officially signed to dissolve NASA. The party leaders of Amani National Congress, Ford Kenya and Wiper Democratic Movement said they made the decision in order to forge a new path ahead of the 2022 general election. Other parties that formed the coalition include Raila Odinga's Orange Democratic Movement and Chama cha Mashinani of Isaac Ruto. ODM on Thursday last week announced its resolution to exit the coalition but is yet to formally notify the registrar of political parties of the party's decision.
Ijulikane na wananchi wote wa Kenya na hata marafiki zetu duniani kote kwamba muungano wa One Kenya Alliance tuko imara, tuko tayari kuchukua uongozi wa nchi hii ifikapo mwezi Agosti mwaka ujao mpya. Na kwa hivyo kwa pande wetu, kama ambavyo nasema, hatuna takshishi yoyote, hatuna ugomvi na yoyote yule. Ugomvi ugomvi ambao tunao ni dhidi ya ufisadi ambao umefikia kiwango ambacho hakieleweki.
Does not confuse Kenyans with semantics. Let us not start talking to Kenyans about which model or that model. You know, we are beyond economic classes. The challenges facing Kenya are not academic, but we need to graduate from additional taxation to new taxpayers. How do we create new taxpayers? Tutafanya nini ili watu waingie kwa tax bracket kwa sababu wameanza kupata namna ya kufanya kazi? These are the challenges which we face. Are we
sweet because having removed the clutches of NASA from our hands, we now can freely engage and actualize legally the existence of One Kenya Alliance. And you'll be seeing this team and those who are going to join us, and there are many, striving across the country to give Kenyans a new direction in terms of how this country moves on.
What's your picture? What's your picture, man? You don't have what your camera.
Democratic movements and its leaders in Kakamega County have castigated their former NASA counterparts for trying to interfere with a planned presidential visit expected later in the week. Led by Shinyalu Member of Parliament Justus Kizito, the party criticized their counterparts, saying they were out of order in their demands to be included in the planning of the presidential visit. They insisted that Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya and Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa are the only ones mandated to oversee the implementation of development projects in the region.
A popular president. Consequently, we support and encourage the president and his handshake partner to continue building bridges by jointly visiting every part of this country.
Elected leaders appointed him and Eugene to lead the issue of development in Western Kenya. So the president is right to consult him and ask him, where have you reached, where the projects we identified, what is happening in those projects. You can't bring anybody from outside that matrix to coordinate what you don't know. Thank you.
Glad you're watching the Lunchtime News. This is KBC. We do appreciate your feedback, especially on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. Kick acknowledgements on Facebook. Bram Mpalia, you're saying you're watching KBC Channel 1 from the county of Kajiado. Neva Towet, you're watching KBC Channel 1 from Kabaras in Burundu area. And Esther Akinyi, you're watching KBC Channel 1 from the county of Homa Bay. We are taking a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us.
Why you would protect Han Yunxi even though she is a spy for Queen Mother?
How will you repay me?
Just name it.
Who is trespassing in my manor?
He must have a greater purpose. I will continue investigating.
He wouldn't think that I am having an affair, right?
He does really care a lot about you.
Oh no, the crown prince asked Gu Qishao to investigate the powder that he switched. Do you know what the powder was?
Na kuomba tulie kijana.
Sikitika kusema kuwa Maya alipoteza mtoto wake.
You tried to kill us, mother.
Kama mimi ingekuwa nimehusika, huyo maya angekuwa hahemi saa hizi.
Usinishike hapo ukaja ukanitia memba upepo alafu kaniruka.
I want my son today. Na kama hamtampata mtoto wangu, wewe na machizi wako mtamtambua.
What does this number mean to you? A pack leader? A winner? Or just a number? To us, it means freshness, boldness, vibrancy and heritage. That's why at KBC Channel 1, we make it easier for you to pop up your family entertainment to a fresh, exciting and colorful bouquet.
Thank you for staying with us. This is the Lunchtime News. Now, the second day of Form 1 admission and stakeholders in the exercise have raised a myriad of challenges they are facing, top among them the internet-powered school admission systems. Parents have also decried the financial challenges they are facing, citing demand by some school heads that the first-term school fees must be paid fully.
At Kolanya Girls in Busia County, admission of Form 1 students. The exercise going on smoothly, a student looking forward for their 4-year stay in their new environment.
The clearance is going on smoothly. We haven't seen any hitch. We haven't seen any stampede. There is some organization.
My expectations are high. Yeah, the school is a nice school, nice population, good surroundings and environment.
According to the school principal Fanny Manyala, the process was somehow slow owing to internet challenges.
We are going by what we were given. We have the circular. And any parent who has paid more because the letter they downloaded was not adjusted, we would ask them to leave the money for the following term.
Elsewhere, the Ministry of Education has been challenged to come up with regulation on school uniforms, with parents coughing millions of shillings to traders who are working in cahoot with school principals. According to Gilgil Member of Parliament Martha Wangari, schools were working with cartels to fleece parents through exaggerated uniform prices.
Pesa ambayo inafika kwa shule labda ni 1,000, labda ni 700, sababu nyingi inasemekana imekatiwa at source ama imekatiwa Nairobi. Na mambo ya kubadilisha vitabu kila siku, hapo ndo ufisadi unatoka.
The Kenya Forest Service Green Zones Development Support Project Phase 2 has today received a major boost of 15 tractors and 3 field vehicles. This is part of its efforts to rehabilitate over 300,000 hectares of degraded natural forest. Speaking during the flagging off ceremony at Karura Forest, Chief Conservator of Forest Julius Kamau noted that the vehicles will support nursery operations and transport seedlings to planting sites during tree planting seasons in 15 forest sites around Mount Kenya Forest, Aberdares and the Mau ecosystems.
Kenya Forest Service Chief Conservator of Forest Julius Kamau during the flag-off ceremony of 18 motor vehicles to be used in the restoration of forest cover in 15 counties. Mau calling on more partnership in conservation efforts to actualize rehabilitation of 357,000 hectares of degraded natural forests.
Forest Service has put in place a very strong partnership and linkage initiative to be able to rally partners who can come and join us and support us and complement our effort to be able to advance our mandate to conserve and protect these public forest resources.
He noted that the 6 years Green Zone Development Support Project Phase 2 is being supported by the African Development Bank and in its second year. He said the project has begun transforming forest covers and contributing to the country's climate change resilience through conservation and livelihoods and a boost to food security. On his part, Kenya Forest Service Chairman Peter Kimathi Kinyua said they intend to plant 6 million trees in 6 years, as well as improve the welfare of the service staff to actualize the project's theme.
The 6-year program shall help in propagation of 60 million tree seedlings and support reforestation and afforestation of 36,000 hectares of degraded landscape, both in government forests as well as community farmlands.
Ben Troinjue, Lunchtime News.
Police in Kajiado are holding a suspected poacher arrested while ferrying game meat using a motorcycle as cases of poaching in the county escalate. Kajiado Central Sub-County Police Commander Daudi Loronyonque said the multi-agency security team, including Kenya Wildlife Service officers, are working on a tip-off from members of the public from Nasaru Wildlife Conservancy in Mashuru Sub-County to apprehend a 40-year-old Mtua Mutie with game meat destined for Kajiado town.
40-year-old Mutua Mutie was ambushed by officers in Kajiado while accompanied by his accomplice during a scuffle with police officers from Nasaru Wild Conservancy. The suspects were ferrying the game meat, including 4 dik-dik and 1 impala carcasses. According to police, the game meat was being ferried to Kajiado town on transit to Nairobi.
Kweli wao poachers wako na wakafahamia na wakafichika mmoja wao. Walikuwa wawili lakini mmoja.
It is during the melee that one officer sustained injuries as one of the suspects escaped.
Kaua swara mmoja. Wakapatikana na hiyo nyama na pia wakapatikana na silaha ambayo ni slashers, torches, kingora na vitu vingine.
However, in his defense, the suspect said he was a boda rider who was hired to ferry a package at a fee.
Kuna jamaa mwenye alikimbia ndiye aliniambia nimpeleke Masaini, akachukua kama mzigo kake kako mahali. Halafu kufika huko akaniambia yeye uanga anafanya hii kazi, nimsubiri amalize kazi yake nimrudishe.
The suspect is awaiting to be arraigned in Kajiado court, even as police call on members of the public to be vigilant in fighting poaching.
Na tunaomba wananchi washirikiane na sisi, tuwe macho, tulinde wanyama wa pori wetu. Tunajua ni heritage yetu, ni employment ya vijana pia, na pia inaleta ushuru Kenya.
Ben Chumba, Lunchtime News.
Time for Channel 1 Business News. And Microsoft and the International Finance Corporation have launched a program that will avail digital tools and training resources aimed at modernizing supply chains. The initiative will see a mobile platform piloted in 4 countries, including Kenya, that seeks to boost farmers' productivity and revenue.
Data-driven agriculture has been backed to improve yields around the world, especially in developing nations. Microsoft Africa and the International Finance Corporation, IFC, are looking to increase the uptake of data-driven agriculture in Africa through a mobile platform that targets 50,000 farmers and 50 cooperatives in 4 countries. The pilot phase of the program will be implemented in Kenya, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, and Uganda. The initiative is informed by the fact that digital technology can improve the operation of key supply chains in the food system through greater agricultural efficiencies, improved business practices, traceability, food safety, and access to finance. The use of digital tools in Africa's agriculture sector remains limited, often because of infrastructure, affordability, awareness, and regulatory issues. Through such initiatives, players hope to boost food security. Agribusiness contributes about 25% of Africa's GDP and 70% of its employment. Microsoft says digital technology is one way to boost agricultural production and efficiencies. In the long term, the partnership between Microsoft and IFC IFC seeks to deepen the understanding of factors that drive the adoption and use of digital solutions among smallholder farmers, farmer cooperatives and other actors in the agriculture supply chain. Betty Kiptum, Lunchtime News.
Milk and processing plants in Kiambu County has been reopened after 10 years, promising a market for over 3,500 members of Limuru Dairy Cooperative. However, Limuru Milk and Processing Plant Chairman Njuguna Chege says more than 150 million shillings is needed to finance a new milk pasteurizing machine and long-life milk machine since the existing ones have broken down.
Access to market remains a key challenge for farmers across the country. And for dairy farmers, the farm gate price is one that they are keen on, given the high cost of production. In Limuru, farmers had been facing challenges selling their milk after the Limuru Milk and Processing Plant was closed down 10 years ago. There is good news after the management of the factory announced its reopening, offering a new market for dairy farmers in the area.
What spoils the prices of milk is when we get milk from outside the country. We are happy that these days the government has done what is humanly possible to avoid milk coming from outside the country.
However, the management of the factory says they need about 150 million shillings to do repairs and replace some key machinery to make the factory modern. Among those machinery earmarked for replacement is a pasteurizing machine, as well as putting in place a long-life milk production line.
Kubaliana tunaweza chagia kwa mkulima, anaweza katwa shilingi 1 au shilingi 2 kwa sababu tayari maziwa tuko naye. Our production yetu imeshaenda juu. Kwa hivyo tutashikana pamoja na our leaders na tukubaliana watukate kitu kidogo kwa upande wa maziwa ili tuweze kushikana na our national government na county government ili sasa to revive hiyo process yetu.
The National Agricultural and Rural Inclusive Growth Project has committed to spend 100 million shillings on revamping the plant, with the Kiambu County government pledging to chip in 35 million shillings.
Tukifikia hapo kwa kupack maziwa yenyewe, tutakuwa na kujivunia sana kuwa soko yetu itaendelea kuwa juu na tutakuwa na pesa.
We know we have very good quality milk in Limuru. So we are hoping to make the best and we are looking forward. I'm sure we'll beat them all.
Was speaking during a field visit where area farmers welcomed the decision to open the factory.
The Geothermal Development Company has sealed a deal with Baringo County government for promotion of direct use of geothermal in farming and manufacturing before power plants are constructed. Geothermal Development Company Managing Director Engineer Jared Otieno says geothermal steam would be used in fish ponds and greenhouses to boost food production as well as milk pasteurization and in laundry in the area.
The government seeks to achieve food security by increasing large-scale production of staple foods. The move is expected to increase by a significant amount the level of crop production in the country. Greenhouses and fish ponds heated using geothermal energy will complement the food security agenda. GDC and Baringo County will collaborate in, among other areas, marketing of geothermal energy technology, geothermal direct use feasibility studies, investments in geothermal energy technology, and development of geothermal powered industrial parks.
We discussed about the aspect of industrialization. In that very region, we have started to map, and in our county we have mapped and dissected into almost 9 as industrial economic hubs.
Uganda Airlines has pushed its expansion plans to end of the year, citing COVID-19 travel restrictions on its planned destinations. Uganda Airlines had announced plans to start in July long-haul trips to Europe, India, and China and the Middle East included, but these have now been pushed to the last quarter of this year. Here now are the details of this and other stories from across the African continent.
The United Arab Emirates and the United Kingdom have slapped bans on direct flights from Uganda. Uganda Airlines had earlier targeted 4 destinations: Mumbai, London, Dubai and Guangzhou. The airline says flights to Heathrow will commence in December following a review of the United Kingdom red list. It plans to start flights to Mumbai in November, subject to the Ugandan government lifting a ban on direct flights between Entebbe and India. Uganda Airlines is currently running a 4-craft fleet of Bombardier CRJ900 aircraft. The airline flies regional routes such as Kinshasa, Nairobi, Dar es Salaam, Juba, Mogadishu and Kilimanjaro. Meanwhile, Egypt published the first pictures of LE10 and 20 plastic notes that will officially issue next November from the new printing press of the Central Bank of Egypt in the new administrative capital. The production of the new currency will be carried out with the latest currency production lines in the world and with the latest insurance specifications at the international level, stressing that the new LE10 and LE20 will be circulated alongside the current currency. The new plastic money is expected to reduce the cost of printing the traditional currency, as it is made of polymer that is harmless to the environment and has twice the lifespan of the paper currency. Finally, Rwanda raised $620 million from investors as it sold international bonds for only the second time, making it the latest of a flurry of African nations to take advantage of recent benign conditions in bond market. The sale of the new 10-year debt attracted orders of more than $1.6 billion. According to bankers arranging the deal, investors have been drawn to relatively high yielding emerging market dollar bonds in recent weeks and a plunge in developed country bond yields. Monday's Rwandan bond follows a second visit to the international bond and market by Benin last month and dollar debt sales by Cameroon and Senegal in June.
Chinese online gaming firm Tencent Holdings shares fell by their most in a decade after a Chinese state media outlet branded online video games as spiritual opium, stoking concern that the sector may be the next in regulators' crosshairs. China's biggest social media and video game firm saw its stock tumble more than 10% in morning trade, wiping almost $60 billion from its market capitalization. Here now are the details of this and other stories from across the globe.
Shares in 2 of China's biggest online gaming firms have slipped after a state media outlet called them electronic drugs. Tencent and NetEase shares fell more than 10% in early Hong Kong trade before regaining some of those losses. Investors are increasingly concerned about Beijing cracking down on firms. In recent months, authorities have announced a series of measures to tighten their grip on technology and private education companies. An article published by the state-run Economic Information Daily said many teenagers had become addicted to online gaming and it was having a negative impact on them. Tencent also saw its shares fall last week after being ordered to end exclusive music licensing deals with record labels around the world. Meanwhile, BMW has raised its profit forecast for 2021 after strong quarterly results, but said the global semiconductor chip shortage and rising raw materials prices would hurt its performance in the second half of the year. BMW has been relatively less affected by the global chip shortage than some of its peers across the auto industry, which has been attributed to its strong relations with its supplier base. Its German rivals Volkswagen and Daimler have both warned the chip shortage will dent their results in the second half, and Daimler has said the crisis could drag on into 2022. Finally, QANTAS says it will stand down 2,500 staff as a lockdown in Sydney impacts air travel across Australia. The airline says the furlough affecting pilots, crew and airport workers will last for at least 2 months. QANTAS said it would pay staff until mid-August, after which they could apply for government support payments. Since June, fresh COVID outbreaks have forced most Australian states to reimpose restrictions. The highly contagious Delta variant has forced lockdowns in several city and some state border closures. The situation is most severe in Sydney, which is reporting about 200 new infections each day, despite being in lockdown since 26th June. Nearly all states have banned travellers from Australia's biggest city, which has led to thousands of cancelled flights.